Hey guys, it's Ray, and I have two incredible people with me. I have Miss Tiffany Ott, Techie Teach Ott,
Hi, guys.
and we have Becky, our host. You did phenomenal.
Yay! So good. So good. Yeah.
I was so excited because, Tiff, I know that you were a part of our preview. I'm sure you were watching on your end, but Becky was able to come live with us before the chat. Then she hosted this incredible Twitter chat that had an incredible topic. I can't wait to dive into that. And then now having you live after, it's like the best mix of it all.
I love when we have a mastery chat that we have the host come on before and after, because it just kind of gives everything this full 360-degree view. And I connected with Becky, gosh, it must have been couple months ago. I don't even remember what we were in a chat together, or we were something together. And I was like, Becky, you need to come host a chat, because her focus and her mission is just, it's great. I love it. So yay, Becky, for saying yes and being here and totally rocking out this chat. Really great chat. I love it.
It was so exciting, and I actually met so many teachers that I hadn't connected with before. So as I'm following, I'm like, follow.
Yeah.
Well, now you're a part officially of the Mastery Chat family now that you've hosted and been a huge part of all these lives. So you actually are stuck forever now in our family.
Never escape, Becky, ever. But that's what I love so much about these chats, Becky, is that every week you meet new people. Every week you put another link in your connections with other educators. And I have grown so much professionally in ways that I never imagined possible from being a part of this little Mastery Chat world for the last year. It's been amazing. So we're so glad that you're with us now. This has been really good.
Yeah, it was really fun. And there was so many good ideas out there that I was like, I need to go back and just reread everything and write down notes.
I always spend a good hour after the chat going back and like responding to everything.
Well, and I actually felt like that was an interesting part of our chat, which, first of all, ladies, we're doing a bad job. We haven't even mentioned what the chat was about yet. But we will. The one comment I was going to say, because I'm going to forget it if I don't say it, was that a lot of our chats spread insight and I learn about a topic. This was full of resources. Like I have so many things. I actually had to take notes. No kidding. Because there were so many like programs and apps that I'm like, okay, wait, I have to go look that up after. It's not just an idea that I like. It's not just a resource someone shared that I downloaded, but it's like legitimately something that I'm going to go use tomorrow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Becky, will you do me a favor? Will you give us a really quick overview of like what was our Twitter topic about today?
So we were talking about global ed. That's how they refer to it on Twitter, #global ed, which is incorporating global learning across the curriculum. So it's fun to do international nights and festivals. We do that too, but also just spreading it across the curriculum. So it's not just a one-day event, but it is in math class and in science class and social studies and even your bulletin boards in the hallways, your school library, kind of incorporating global and multicultural learning all across the curriculum so that kids understand that we're connected to the world and there's all these different perspectives. And it's not meant to add a burden to the teacher. It's not like, oh, now I have to teach one more thing. You're already going to do word problems in math. So if you tweak a little bit and you talk about the World Cup, you're still teaching the same math concept, but you're just bringing in the global learning really without adding extra time to your day.
And that can help launch those conversations, right? So you do a math problem about the World Cup, and then you, without fail, have a kid in the class who's like, I love soccer. And it just launches.
I'm that kid right now.
Are you that kid right now?
Yeah.
Well, and what I love so much about this chat, and you know, I've taught in an international baccalaureate school for more than half of my career. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 8, a lot. Most of my career has been at an IB school. And so this whole multicultural view has been a part of my teaching career my whole life. And there's been a lot of discussion about there's surface mentioning of different cultures where it's, you know, you have, hey, this is the food from the culture and these are the clothing and the, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. Here's the music. And that's, it's nice, but that really doesn't get to what we're trying to get to with global ed, right? You really have to dig deeper and find some of those connections that are more than just, hey, what's the food they eat? Because that doesn't do much for us globally. Mm-hmm. So I love that was coming up.
Well, and I loved, we were talking about it earlier, I know in our pre-chat, Becky, but I couldn't agree more with your emphasis on things need to be so much more interdisciplinary. We have to start embedding these things within all content areas. We can't leave culture to the social studies teacher. We can't leave culture for, December 2nd when we have cultural day, but how can we embed these concepts within all of our lessons consistently so that we're, acknowledging a really global presence versus just, tipping our toe and saying that we did it, kind of checking the box type mentality.
Yeah, I think teachers really have to work together. A lot of times the projects, it's intuitive that you start including different subjects. There's this great project where kids all plant tulips on a certain day all over the world. Yeah. And they can go online and show, they map when their tulips start blooming. But it's completely across the curriculum. The math teachers, you have to build the box a certain way because it's citizen science. Everyone has to have the same planter box, right? Mm-hmm. And they have to be this many inches deep, and you have to count out the grid. And then in science, how do the tulips bloom? What affects them? Is it the weather? Is it the rain? And then you're using technology because you're looking at when they start to bloom. In Canada, they don't bloom until May, but in Florida, they might bloom in February, And then you're talking about social studies, and then you're connecting with other classes. And it's like, it's intuitive to include different subject matters. We just have to say, this is our goal. We want the kids to do global learning. And so let me talk to the math and the science teacher and see what we can do to bring in ELA and, social studies.
Well, and so much, I love what you said there. It is intuitive, although a lot of times people kind of hear that, hey, we should be doing this and kind of freeze up, right? Mm-hmm. But
they don't know where to start. They're like,
right.
But it's so simple that just start with something, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like, how can you not talk about reading when you're a science teacher? How can, you know what I mean? Like, how can you not make those connections? Because if you're a science teacher, they're reading stuff and they need to know how to read it, and they need to be able to comprehend it and break it down. And, so those connections are there. We just have to be like, okay, let's just take a second and recognize them and then actually put a little bit of focus on them, right? It's not rocket science.
And I think what you said, going back a little bit, baby steps are okay. When I first went into my kids' school to start doing some international work, baby steps. I mean, we just had an international night. Then the next year it was a week. And then the next year I was like, hey, let's do this Geography Stars program for the 6 weeks leading up to the international night. Yeah. And then it was like, hey, why don't all the out classes get involved? Can you guys do games around the world in PE? Can you do music around the world in music? Can we do library story time? I mean, it's like you kind of do baby steps, but it's like it catches. And other teachers are like, well, we could do this, in art. Why don't we do multicultural art? Great. So as it spreads, people get excited, and then you do make those connections. It's like, let's do Japan, and we'll do origami, and then we'll read a story about it, and then there's this really cool game we can play in PE. And it's like, yes, if we all brainstorm together, we can do this. We can, spread it around.
Well, we talk so much about implementation, Tiffany.
That's exactly where I was just going, Ray. We are like one mind right now, because that's
seriously.
But honestly, is,
We do it in blogs. We have free resources we give to people. We work with administrators in school constantly. And we always talk about that type of model to start implementing a great idea, a new initiative. Sometimes people go full force and it becomes overwhelming. Like you were saying earlier, people don't know where to start, therefore they don't start. And could you imagine if you were able to give these small little doses, like you were saying, Becky, where 1 year you do one thing and then you add just a smidgen more, and then the teacher ownership enhances. I mean, it's just magical how that can blossom.
I took a course as part of grad school, which I'm now done with. Woo-woo. But just a few semesters ago, I took a course called Managing Technological Change, because my master's is in instructional tech. And so much of what was discussed right there like during that course applies to managing change, period. And there was so much discussion about a slow diffusion model, and it is so powerful. You find your couple people who are into it, who are like, yeah, I want to do multicultural night, let's do it. And then gradually, not all at once, but gradually, other teachers are like, oh yeah, that was really neat, so I'll do something like that, right? So supporting that slow diffusion model, I think is so critical as education leaders. We need to praise that and be okay with that slower process. Not too slow though, because sometimes change in education is way too slow. But you gotta start. Once you start, it's okay to let it diffuse. You know what I mean?
So Becky, did you have like a favorite? Like, I know we talked about your favorite question earlier in our pre-chat, but did you have a question that sparked a response that after the chat you were like, wow, that was really impactful?
Well, kind of twofold. I got so many ideas from the ed tech question. People were just, it was like flying, and I'm like, I can't even write it down this fast, so I'm going to have to go back and look at it. Because sometimes we kind of get set, like we do Skype, okay? Skype around the world, we Skype mystery Skype, like that's easy, and I know how to do it. But then Flipgrid just started, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta do that in my class. I've done it for myself. I did a teacher-led Flipgrid, and it was so easy. I mean, I just use my phone, and I'm like, this would help, because in Skype, we frequently Skype with people in our time zone, like in the Americas. I can never figure out how. I have a teacher in Dubai who always wants to Skype, or in China, and I'm like, I can't figure it out. But Flipgrid, I'm like, yes, you can do it anytime, and then we just watch it the next day. So I love that. And then also the service projects, it was kind of slow coming, and then all of a sudden people were giving really good ideas. And I want to do more service projects in my classes. I want to aim for like one a year. If we could do one service project, that would be awesome.
Well, it's interesting, Becky. I agree with you. The ed tech question was so cool, and the resources were great. But now to jump to the outreach projects that you were talking about, I love those. And some of them were really, really, really big, bold ideas, and some were small and completely doable in a few days that students can take on. One of my favorite things that we're able to do in my classroom is we do some sort of community outreach, some sort of support every single unit. And it really changes the mindset of students really sharing their ideas and giving back. It's so cool.
And I love how a lot of them were student initiated. They were saying like, well, it was the hurricane, so, we wanted to do this. Or it was the tsunami, so my students, and it's like, that's perfect, because they were tuned into what was going on, to the current events. They realized, hey, like they need some help. Let's see what we can do. And I love that lesson. I think that's one of the most important lessons kids can get.
And so much of that depends on, as the teacher, allowing the space for that to happen. Allowing the space for those conversations. When the kid walks in and you overhear two kids talking to each other about, well, my dad says this about what's going on, and saying, hey, this is a valuable conversation, and I am going to take 10 minutes to have this conversation, and allow that space for it to continue the student engagement and what's happening in the world around them. Because when you're engaged, when you look at the world as a global community and you think about it that way, those service activities or the outreach, that's a natural next step.
And I think some people don't realize that global learning doesn't have to be all, on the other side of the world. Our fifth graders, and I was not in charge of this, so I can't take credit. Our fifth graders heard that a school in our district they don't have money for a fifth grade party. And so, so our fifth graders actually raised enough money to completely fund the fifth grade party of this other school, which is like, how awesome is that? Because they were like already fundraising for their own. They got a bouncy house. They had like a DJ come in. I think they had t-shirts made up for the graduating class. And it was like, that's global learning. Even though it's not all the way, over on the other side of the world, you're still connecting with another community and seeing what their needs are and, taking action.
Well, and that's really the crux of it. It's the connection, right? Because when you view the world as not isolated islands of people, when you view the world as connections, and when you're in elementary school, that connection between you and the school down the road is incredibly real and authentic to you. It's right there. I love that. I love that. That's so neat. Kudos to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well-
what other tech resources did you guys see? I saw Flipgrid, I saw Skype. My favorite was a Google Hangout connection that somebody had made with a second and third grade class in Israel. I mean, that's like, what other things did you see where they were sharing resources on how to connect?
You know, I think that all of those are really cool video tools, and video is great. Video is something that we are able to do now that we couldn't do 15 years ago, and
We're
that's
doing it right now.
We're doing it right now. Yeah, we're all over the place right now. Look at us being connected. But there's a lot of other ways that you can connect too. There are some places where having that Wi-Fi connection that is strong enough to video connect is not an easy thing to do, or you run into time zone issues, right? So even like a Google Docs pen pal situation, pen pals are great.
Yeah.
Not only is it starting a conversation and connecting, but it's writing skills, it's reading skills. You know what I mean? So you don't have to go like, we're going to have a massive Skype session with our sister school. That's great. Do it. But don't let the fact that maybe you can't do that stop you from doing something, because you can still connect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think after the Twitter chat ended, someone had just posted, we went low tech and our third and fourth graders exchanged handwritten letters with pen pals in NYC via snail mail. And they were blown away by the fact that they were holding a piece of paper addressed to them from across the world. So I'm not sure where she's located, but
See, that's so cool.
Our local, I'm in Mexico, and I put out a post to all Spanish teachers in the US and said, who wants to write Christmas cards for these orphanages? Just personal project that I was helping to deliver gifts to. And I got like 500 cards, and we delivered them all to the orphanages, soup kitchens. And it was like the kids got to practice their Spanish. They got to do something meaningful. And the letters, I was like reading all of them before I delivered. They were so good. I was just like, this is going to make someone's day. It was a really neat project.
So
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I mean, the fact that a handwritten note is something that's so undervalued now is so important to emphasize to our students. I actually, to my fault, my students actually connected with a school in Ohio recently with Melissa Hayes' group. So she's fantastic. And they sent us like a care package with handwritten notes and fidget spinners, which was like the sweetest thing. And the kids were blown away, not by the fidget spinners, but by like these notes that they had colored. They were second graders. I teach sixth grade. And they were like, they wrote us. That was so nice and considerate. I'm like, so fun.
Yeah. Well, that having that tangible artifact, you know, it's neat. I really like mixing it up, right? So have those Skype calls, have those hangouts, have a physical exchange of something as well, you know, low tech, high tech, just make those connections happen. So,
Definitely.
So my favorite question, I just need to pop and say, my favorite question was the book question, the literature question.
Yeah.
I love that so much. So reading is not really my area of expertise in teaching. I teach it, and I think I do a decent job, right? But I'm a middle school math and science trained teacher. But I'm currently teaching an enrichment reading for upper elementary. So, you know, that's odd. But I do love it. And I'm always looking for good resources. And I love getting fairy tales from different cultures and kind of comparing the Cinderella stories. Kids think that's really engaging.
Yeah.
But I do a book battle club where we read books, and it's kind of like a quiz bowl thing. Lots of fun. And I'm always looking for books every year. I'm like, what books do I need to include in my book battle list? And several people posted links to great lists of amazing literature. And so that is totally like, when I go back to school tomorrow, I'm going to call up my book battle buddies and be like, hey guys, I've got books for us. So let's get ordering. Let's figure it out.
Love it.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I definitely want to go back and write down all those titles, because there were so many, and I was just hitting like so that I could find them again.
You know what we should do, Ray? We should, because, you know, every week it's the same. There's tons of resources, tons of like really awesome articles people post or whatever. We should put together like each week a quick little document, right? Just copy and paste each week into a document. And then we can share that out throughout the week. Like, hey, you missed Mastery Chat. Here's all of these awesome ideas. so that you can just go find them real easily.
There's a thing for that, and I can't remember the name of it, and I can't believe it does the transcript for you, so you don't even have to do it. And I can't remember if you put Twitter transcript and look it up. There's like a tool, and it'll go through and it'll like put it all together for you.
Awesome, rock on. But yeah, I think that would be a really neat thing to share, because not everybody has hours to go back the night after and go back and sort through all those resources.
Well, I have to say, Becky, we don't want to keep you too long, but I just have to tell you that this was such a fun chat. I really hope you join us again, because I know that our entire family, our Mastery Chat family, got a lot out of this, and I just couldn't imagine. We have to see you back soon, because we already did confirm, Tiff, you weren't there, but on the pre-chat, Becky and I are officially best friends. So
I missed it.
Well,
Chicago.
Yes,
I've been replaced.
She's on Central Time. I mean,
I was born in Chicago. That counts.
Oh, yay! That's good.
I lived there for 10 months, but I don't know about this whole Central Time thing, though. That's a raging debate in the Grid Method group. We were always razzing on Ray for being in Central Time. We're all Eastern Time.
Well, Tiff, you're the oddball out right now, so
now I know how you feel every day, Ray.
Just a little behind. No, but we have two other things that I wanted to mention really quick, if you guys don't mind.
I mind terribly, Ray.
Oh, man. Well, Tiff, you better leave then, because I got two things. Really quick, we are running this fantastic thing on Facebook that if you if you're watching our live, that means you must be on the Grid Method page. We're doing free PD. We can have 3 lucky schools win, and I really want you to win. So I have figured out how to rig the system, and because Jeff's not here, I can talk to you about it. So you have to go to a form. It's thegridmethod.com/freepd2018, and you can submit as many times as you want with whomever you want until May 25th. So I've decided to encourage you to submit 100 million times a day, because then you'll be the only one in there. So when the generator happens and we close our eyes and pick something out of a hat, your name will be there.
We're all going to Mexico?
Yes, we're going to Mexico. So please, go check that out. I really want you to win, because I really want to visit your school.
Perfect.
Well, and I'm so excited about that. We've done this free PD contest once before, and I'm so glad we're doing it again, because there are so many teachers who want to dive in and get some PD, but it's, districts have budgets that don't always agree, and to be able to reach out and connect with people in a way like this is exciting. Plus, I like giving away free stuff.
I love giving away free stuff. I know. I really do.
I like when people give me free stuff too. So,
So we also decided, and Becky, you can be in on this if you want. We are accepting bribes. So if you want to, Jeff said he wanted donuts. I'm like a Starbucks gift card kind of girl. Tiffany, last week we advertised you as anything tech would work for you.
Or a nap.
Oh, and
if somebody could arrange a nap. No, I'm kidding.
I thought you said an app. I was like, that makes sense. And then
a nap. A nap. I could use a nap.
Okay, Tiff, if someone pays to get you a babysitter for an hour,
deal.
That would probably work. Becky, what's your bribe request? What would you?
I'm having a hard time finding Reese's peanut butter cups, so if you could work that out, then.
Oh man, you got to give us your address. We'll send you some, okay? Those are my favorite candy.
Right? I know.
And then you put them in the freezer, and then it's like a Reese's peanut butter cup, like ice cream dessert.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you got to give us your mailing address. We'll send you some Reese's cups.
Please do. Yeah. To confirm, we have no say on who gets picked because it's happening through the computer, but I still think bribery would help, just so we can be crossing our fingers for you. I asked Jeff if there could be everyone in a hat, we could live stream it, and he said no. So, anyway, bribery work good. Last but not least, before we go, thank you. I think we posted that link in our comments, so please make sure you check out that free PD. It goes till May 25th. You can submit as many times as you want between now and May 25th, so go check that out. Last but not least, And I'm sorry, this is a selfish thing, but it's my mama's birthday, and I just want to say happy birthday. She always watches these.
Happy birthday!
Best woman ever. So love you.
Oh, aren't moms fabulous?
But you know what? It's Mother's Day in Mexico, so it's perfect.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
That's fabulous. Yeah, because you have a whole slew of kids, don't you?
I do, yeah.
I didn't catch all of the pre-chat video, but I did catch that you have multiple 13-year-olds. You've got 5 kids?
Yes.
I've got 3. You've got me beat on that one.
Yeah.
So yes, happy Mother's Day.
Happy
And happy birthday to your mom, Ray.
thanks. But anyway, it was so fun, Becky. Thank you again so much.
Yay.
We are so appreciative of you spreading your knowledge, and we're so excited to have you in the Master Chat family. Tiffany, it is always fun to see your pretty face. But everybody else, thank you so much for being part of our chat, and have a fabulous Thursday night and an even better Friday.
Yay!
Yay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.